Wow, thank you so much. I just want to say what a treat it is for me to stand here today and look out and see so many supportive and encouraging faces on a sultry afternoon. This afternoon, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out and being a part of this special day. We actually started very early, and I want y'all to give someone a round of applause because he's actually been driving me all day long. Gene Ravenscraft, right over here. We started at 5:30 this morning, and we hit the road, and we started with an announcement in Garland County, Hot Springs. Then we went to Miller County, Texarkana. Of course, we're here in my home county of Columbia County, and then we're headed to Union County here in a moment. And as you know, the new 4th District is difficult to do all in one day. And so everybody was asking me, how are you going to choose which counties to go to? And I thought, you know what, first of all, I'm going to start this campaign by going to the counties where we won the general election last year. Against Congressman Mike Ross, we won these 4 counties in the general election. They're 4 of the 5 most populated counties in the 4th District. And I'm here to say thank you. Thank you for the work that you did, the enthusiasm, and the faith that you showed in me as a candidate. You cannot imagine how I lived on that from day to day as you're out traveling and speaking and talking to people. That really meant the world to me. And I look out and I see so many amazing people that help that happen, that make that happen, really. And I have to definitely, before I get into my comments, say a very special thank you to Julia Smith, who was my little miracle worker last year in Columbia County. The effort that she poured into this campaign was superhuman. Absolutely amazing, my dear friend Julia. So thank you so much. And guys, I'm here, and this is so interesting because I've had these speeches that I've been doing in every county. Here's the line that I have forgotten to do in all of my speeches today. I'm going to get it right today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially announcing for the United States Congress. I guess everyone assumed that's what I was doing at the ends of my other speeches today, but we've had great crowds, very enthusiastic in Hot Springs, Texarkana, now here, and then we'll head to El Dorado. But again, I just want to say what a tribute that is to the people of the 4th District of Arkansas, because the message that we continue to talk about is a message of critical importance at this crossroads that we are at in our country today. And I truly believe that. It is what compelled me last year to get involved in the race, even when it wasn't open and it wasn't easy and it was tough and I faced a giant. And because of you, those efforts have transpired into laying a beautifully strong groundwork into the campaign for this year. And that is an amazing, amazing tribute to you, to the supporters, my friends that have been out there, and it's just a lot of fun to see that. Ladies and gentlemen, I really believe America is at a point where we're about to choose between 2 futures. We can either choose the future of the path that we are currently on, which is reckless, unparalleled, skyrocketing spending, where literally the folks in charge of the pocketbook, the national treasury, that sacred trust of the United States of America, they are driving this country financially right over a cliff. And we've got to make sure that we pull them back from that we make sure they honor the fact that they have got to be better stewards of the people's money. At a $14.4 trillion national debt, what is happening right now is that they are spending and obligating money that future generations of Americans are yet to even grow up and earn. They haven't even earned the money yet that this government has spent and squandered on things that we need to be making better decisions, more responsible decisions over how our government does that. You know, all the efforts that they've spent, they've thrown money at the economy in $1 trillion stimulus. They're trying to get into the banking business with the Frank Dodd bill. They're trying to tell you what kind of light bulb you can have in your house. The government wants its piece of the pie in every single thing except how to balance the budget. I don't understand that. We've got to work toward a balanced budget amendment. Don't tell this Arkansas girl who grew up in the state of Arkansas and worked in the Huckabee administration, where I watched the governor and the legislators work through the night sometimes to balance the budget of the state of Arkansas. Why? Because gratefully there is a constitutional amendment in the state of Arkansas requiring us to do so. So if it weren't for that, the state of Arkansas could be in a mess right now. But I tell you what, you're not going to send this Arkansas girl to Washington, D.C. and convince me that it's impossible for the federal government to operate under the same rules and stipulations and restrictions and limitations that the government of the state of Arkansas does every single year. Our legislators, our governor, they do it here. We can take those precepts and those principles to Washington, D.C. and do it up there. As you know, I'm a big proponent of the balanced budget amendment, so I will continue working on that. I've often said our economy right now, we're sitting at above a 9% unemployment rate. We've gone all the way to 10. They had promised us we wouldn't go above 8%, but we're sitting above 9% right now, and we're just hovering there like it's the new normal. Well, I hate to tell them, no, it's not the new normal. We're going to fix this problem. We're going to fix it because we're going to re-energize the private sector. We're going to give the power back to the people who actually do create the jobs. And big epiphany here, the federal government does not create the jobs in this country. The private sector creates the jobs in this country, one idea at a time. And we've got to take that up there. As I've mentioned, with all of the economy spending out of control, I've often said and will continue to say throughout the duration of this campaign that right now we're not sick from the disease, we're sick from the cure. They have tried to answer our economic woes in this country with all the wrong solutions. So we've got to teach them the principles that Adam Smith put forward, that Milton Friedman stood on, that it's the free market, the free enterprise system, and the more we can empower the citizens of this great country to take an idea, to take that and build it into a company, to build it into a business, to hire employees, that is what will get this economy moving again and the engine of the American society turning the way that it needs to produce the future that we are all envisioning for the children of this great country. You know what? One of the things that I've talked about as we approach the campaign of getting revved up, ready to campaign again in 2012, one of the things that I think about is you hear these horror stories, you know, about the political cycle and the political atmosphere and the political environment, and sure, there's some of that out there. You just have to weather all of that. But I do want y'all to know that even last year as I campaigned, I truly expected folks to throw stuff. I really did. I mean, you hear these horror stories and you're like, oh my goodness, what have I gotten myself into? But I want you to know, true story, the entire campaign last year, I only got full-blown cussed out one time. That's it. Just once. And I remember it like anything. It was at the Sonic in Arkadelphia, and I was campaigning around to all the cars, you know, just popping up to the cars, having conversations. You know, this is Arkansas. Most people are nice as pie to your face. They really are. Even if they can't stand you, they are nice as pie to your face. And so really, this particular response I was truly not expecting. And I mean, he just blessed me out. Top to toe, made up every word, cooked up words I've never even heard in my life, just reamed me out. And so I just kind of went back to my car, climbed in it, and the volunteer was with me who was driving that day. And the volunteer looked at me, and he said, well, he'd been watching the whole scene, not coming to my rescue, I will say. Sitting there watching the whole thing, he looked at me and he said, well, how'd that go? And I looked at him, I said, well, you know what? I think I'm going to put him down as an undecided. So you just have to keep working one idea at a time. You never know when the power of your message is going to break through. It's not about the candidate near as much as it is about the conviction and the principle upon which that candidate stands. As Leroy mentioned, that is the unifier. That's what brings us together. That's what can make this a unique election right here in Columbia County, where we put all the partisan things aside and we unite behind the principles that I believe, honestly, that we, among ourselves here today, that we would find 95% we would be kindred spirits on. That we would stand in unity on 95% of those issues. Let's remember that. Let's not let the divisiveness of typical party politics and partisan yik-yak bickering going back and forth creep down here and divide us one from another. We are a community, we are a neighborhood, we are a collective family of ideas, and that's what's always made this county strong, this city strong, and that's what we can carry forward into the future. I want to be part of that. I want to lend my voice to make that happen. Let me hit just a couple of issues today. So in case someone stops you and asks, but what is she all about? Let me hit just a few issues, and I'll make these brief because I know y'all are getting a little sticky out there in the sunshine and in the heat today. So let me just say, again, I support the balanced budget amendment. Number two, I want to really do what I can to continue communicating what it's going to take to create real jobs in this country, not gimmicky jobs, not federal government jobs, not temporary jobs, real jobs, the salt of the earth kind that grow from the bottom up, one great American idea at a time. And the way we can do that is to limit the growth of government, limit the reach of government, limit the restrictions, the mandates, the stipulations, the compliance that government pours on the heads of small business owners, entrepreneurs, and the dreamers of this country. We cannot afford to lose sight of the fact that the future of this country isn't closely tied to the dreamers of this country, and that is critical to remember. Secondly, I am a huge supporter of the Second Amendment. I've often said, I'm a life member of the National Rifle Association. I'm a proud gun owner. I come from a long history where that is a critical component to the American way of life. I've reminded people the Second Amendment was not written for the government. The Second Amendment was written for the people in order to remain free from the government. It is often said that a people who are disarmed is a people who don't remain free for long. We've got to be sure that our government never infringes upon the right for the American citizen to keep and bear arms, and that means at any level. That means the federal government, that means anti-gun lobbyists, and that means the United Nations trying to sneak in through the back door through the Small Arms Treaty. I will fight it at every level. I will do all that I can with a resounding message. Good luck ever trying to disarm the 4th District of Arkansas. It won't happen on my clock. Let me wind up by just saying how much I appreciate all that you've done. I look out, I see so many supportive faces, and I feel your encouragement. I feel your enthusiasm, your energy, and the amazing help that you've given to me, not just in last year's campaign, not just the promises for this year's effort, but for my entire life. You all have believed in me, you've supported me, and have propelled me not just to have roots, but to have wings, and to face a future, sometimes which includes facing some giants along the way, and to have the courage to step out, whether it's popular, whether it's trendy, or whether the polls indicate it's the right time, the right place, and the right moment. If it's right, you do it. And you don't look around and see who else is doing it with you. You just step forward because it's the right thing to do. And I'm joined today with an amazing company of people who I believe support those same premises. I wanted to conclude today with a letter that I got right after the election last year. And it really touched me because when people sit down and write an old-fashioned letter, that just doesn't happen very much anymore. And I got this wonderful letter from a supporter in Texarkana. And this is what it said. It was from a father. And he said, "Dear Beth Anne, Jackson, my 6-year-old son, just couldn't believe you lost. He said, 'Dad, we should have kept going.' He was referring to Monday afternoon, the day before the election, that quickly turned to evening. As it became dark, I told him, 'Son, we better go home. It's getting dark. It's not as safe after dark going door to door and knocking on doors.' My son looked at me and explained, 'Dad, we should have continued on into the night.' The dad said he is a true blessing from the Lord. Hopefully we will have another opportunity to help you." And today was the first time I got to meet that 6-year-old little boy over in Texarkana as I shared his letter and those words back with him. And I'm asking you today, help me keep going. Let us keep going. Let us not rest. Let us not sleep. Let us not slumber. Let us not grow weary or tired or exhausted. Let us not give up this fight. Let us keep going into the night, if that is required, to help carry the salt of the earth Christian principles, the strong values the American founders envisioned that helped give birth to the greatest nation this planet has ever seen, the United States of America, and I'm humbled and honored to be one small part of that. I thank you today for your support. I'll hang around today for as long as you can stand it, and I appreciate the fact that you are all here. And thank you also, Pam and Carolyn, for helping set everything up, and Philip Turner for coming out here. They've donated their time to set up this sound system today, he and Brian Lee, and I genuinely thank you for doing that. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.